Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Moving Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. It's the podcast where we watch The Muppets Take Manhattan 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. I'm your host, Anthony Strand.
I'm your other host, Ryan Rowe.
And joining us today, we have a very special first-time guest. Guest, tell the listeners who you are.
Hello, my name is Arlo. I'm a guy who yells about Nintendo on YouTube. That's basically it, though.
What a thrill.
Yeah.
So for listeners who may not have seen Arlo's channel, Arlo, what's the name of your YouTube channel?
It's youtube.com/Arlo stuff. If you just type in Arlo, it usually works.
You'll find it. All right. So Arlo is actually the winner of a while ago. Tough Pigs readers might remember that we had a Muppet Fans Doing Good campaign in which Muppet fans donated to charitable causes and could win various prizes. One of which was a chance to guest star on this podcast. And Arlo was our winner. So welcome, Arlo.
You're a winner,
all
Arlo.
I wanted.
Yeah.
It's all I wanted. That's the only prize I wanted. I wanted to be included. I wanted to be in the club.
And here you are.
Yell about Muppets sometimes.
All right. And we are thrilled to have you. Today, Arlo is joining us to talk about minutes 71 and 72 of The Muppets Take Manhattan. In these minutes, Phil gets a new set of clothes and sets out on his own. So we open back in the hospital where the doctor tells Kermit that his case is hopeless and suggests that he make a fresh start. She says, what we can do for you is give you a nice clean set of clothes and wish you a lot of good luck. So
It's very responsible.
that's what I was going to say is like, that's not a thing, right? Hospitals have never given outgoing patients a new set of clothes.
And then just
Have
like,
fun.
and then just sort of, just kind of push them out into the world and just leave them to their own devices. She's giving up on him very quickly. As far as we know, this is just the day after he got hit by the car, right?
Right. Yeah, it seems to be.
Yeah. So yeah.
Make at least a couple calls. Put up a couple signs.
Right. She called a couple nudist colonies and that was it. She's giving up. She's like, oh, well, we tried. To see you later.
Right. If he's not a nudist, he's not anything.
Right.
See ya.
I'm also wondering, are they charging him for this? Because he has no ID, no money, obviously. So I guess, and maybe that's why they're just pushing him out the door because he can't pay for more nights in the hospital, so they don't want him there.
Right. He has no insurance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, now we're getting into some depressing stuff here about our the healthcare system.
That's true. Well, that's the thing about Muppets Take Manhattan, though. Like, I feel like more than the first two movies, it kind of encourages you to talk about depressing stuff, right?
This is the dark and gritty Muppet movie.
Yeah, it is.
That's
And
Frank Eyes for you. He gets real, you know. He likes digging into those emotional stories, and I like it so much.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Me too.
Yeah, that really does seem to be a very deliberate choice on his part with this one.
Yeah,
He's all about the character, like digging really deep into a character and like figuring out what makes him tick. I mean, we've all read all the countless quotes and stuff about like how he goes about a character and they got to have a backstory and all that stuff. And I love it. But like that, it really comes through in like the writing and in the direction and everything.
Not that a lot of his movies are very dark and gritty. I guess even Little Shop of Horrors has some, like it takes place on Skid Row and there's some grittiness there, but like House Sitter, In and Out, those aren't exactly dark and gritty movies, but I guess.
No, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Right.
It's more of an emotional thing. It's more just like, at least for the Muppets.
Yeah, just knowing the characters.
I think that's right. But so anyways, Kermit says, well, thank you, Doc. And then we linger on Kermit's face for a second, which, speaking of like being very character focused, I feel like we're supposed to be watching this set in, right? That Kermit is going to be out there on his own, has no idea who he is or where to go.
Mm.
And the doctor just kicked him out of the hospital. I don't know.
It's terrifying.
I kind of feel like that's why we hold a little too long on Kermit's face.
Yeah, maybe.
But then we do cut to outside the hospital where Kermit is now wearing like a nifty checkered suit and a straw boater hat. So
I love the hat.
Yeah, the hat looks great. Well, and like, it's so funny to me that it's like, we'll get you a new set of clothes. And that's the clothes that they have on hand.
It looks like he's like,
or like a 3-piece suit and
from the 1890s or something.
Yeah.
Like a weird used car salesman.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say, actually, his suit is pretty close to the one he wears at the end of Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Where he's wearing like a brown coat with like a checkered shirt underneath when he's in the Riverside Rest at the end. listening to Ma and Emmett and the gang.
Yeah.
So we have seen Kermit dressed kind of like this before, but I don't know. I just love the idea that like the hospital is like, here you go. here's your boater hat.
It's the only thing they had in his size, I guess.
Right.
And this shot of him exiting the hospital doesn't seem strictly necessary. Like, it's just him walking away from the hospital. But I do think maybe part of the reason it's there is because they knew that the audience was going to laugh to see Kermit wearing this outfit. So that's to like get the laugh out of the way before we have to move on to the story.
That's a really good point. Yeah, that's a really good point.
And also, I, as a New York resident and lover of New York, I did spend a few minutes trying to figure out what this building is. I don't know if it's actually a hospital. I suspect not, but I could not figure it out. But if anyone out there knows what the building is that's used as the exterior of the hospital, please let us know.
Yes.
I want to go recreate that shot.
Yeah, I'm going to wear that outfit.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
I do think
there's an obscure Halloween costume right there.
Yeah, Philip Fell. I think I did it in the straw boater, though. I don't know.
Yeah, you would, yeah. But I do think that this shot, like you're right, we do get the laugh, but then I feel like it does draw us back into the emotion because Kermit kind of looks around and shrugs and then walks off.
Yeah, it's like, what do we do now?
Right, and it's another example of how good Jim Henson is in this movie at like the subtle stuff. Because like you say, that shrug says, "What do I do now?"
Yeah.
And it's literally just like a puppet moving its shoulders a half an inch. you know. Yeah. But he looks great, and it tells you, like I said, he sells the emotion so well, man. Jim Henson, that dude, he's good at his job.
Yes,
he's good. Very, very good.
Mm-hmm. But then all of a sudden we're back at Pete's, and guess who's back? The whole gang.
Everyone.
The whole Muppet gang is back at Pete's. They're all talking up a storm. And so I was trying to take note of who is talking to whom. And as far as I can tell, Janice is talking to Gonzo. Fozzie is talking to Rolf.
Yeah.
Dr. Teeth is talking to Camilla, which seems like a fascinating conversation to hear.
I never noticed that. That's great.
Yeah, they're in the back. And then Floyd is talking to Scooter, and the animal like joins their conversation after hopping around for a second or two. As far as I can tell. So that's who we see all talking to each other. Rizzo is sitting on a box talking out loud. You can hear him. You can hear Steve Whitmire chattering. But as far as I can tell, Rizzo is not talking to anyone. There's no one looking at him. Everyone else is engaged in the talk. Yeah. So it's like poor Rizzo. Like all these old friends are together again. And he's just like, yeah, we're all talking. Yeah, I'm talking too.
Yeah, or he might just be like, I remember all you guys. You sat at my table. You didn't leave me a tip.
Right?
We're friends now.
I did notice too, though, that Rizzo's tail is like, I don't know if wagging is the right word. Do rats' tails wag? But
I don't think so.
Rizzo's tail is sort of just like twitching back and forth, which I guess means there's another puppeteer there somewhere, or there's some kind of mechanism. I just love that attention to detail.
Well, they built all of these crazy mechanisms for the rat scene, so they're probably just like, keep using them. Yeah. Our rats can do anything in the world now.
Right.
Might as well use it.
It just makes them seem very alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little touches like that often do come through very, very strongly.
Yeah, it's great. And I was trying to hear what all the characters are saying to each other, and I couldn't really make anything out. I think Fozzie is saying something about something was really funny. I think he's maybe telling Ralph about some funny anecdote from the cave, maybe. But I couldn't really understand anything else that was being said.
Huh.
We need to get some like professionals to like figure out exactly what everyone is saying and draw apart the audio so we can figure it out. Because we can't read the lips, obviously.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love that. I love that. See, that's what we should do. We should do an entire episode of this podcast dedicated to what is every line of dialogue when they're all overlapping.
Yeah.
But
so I hope I'm not jumping ahead. Janice, can we talk about the gag?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was just about to get to it. So Piggy gets everyone's attention.
Piggy does that 2-finger whistle, which I've never been able to do. I've tried.
No, I can't do it.
Like, how do people do that? But I don't understand how people whistle by blowing between 2 fingers.
My uncle Brad used to do it all the time, but he's the only one I've ever seen.
You're demonstrating like with your 2 pinkies. Is that how he does it?
That's how my uncle Brad does it. Yeah.
Wow.
2 pinkies.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Well, I got fuzzy fingers, so it doesn't work for me at all.
So. There you go.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't really work.
No.
All right. Yeah. So anyways, then Piggy tries to get everyone's attention, and everyone stops talking, except for, as Arlo mentioned, Janice, who says, Look, buddy, I don't take my clothes off for anyone, even if it is artistic. So, what were you going to say about this, Arlo?
I love that it's a running gag that only runs for like 2 movies.
Well, but even that's fascinating because, like, of course, you mean it's similar to her line in Great Muppet Caper.
Yeah, exactly.
Says, look, mother, it's my life, and if I want to live on the beach and walk around naked, but is this the only time that we get like that explicit of a variation on a gag from a previous movie?
As far as I know, it's like they were establishing it as a running thing, but then it happened twice, and then it was just kind of done.
Right. Well, but also there's no more movies with Janice in them. Like Janice doesn't have a speaking line in a feature film again until the
it could be that there would have been.
Right.
Maybe they planned on having it be like a total Janice joke.
Maybe it's in the
I wish they would have
screenplay.
done in the
maybe,
in a drawer somewhere.
Maybe it's in the screenplay for the cheapest Muppet movie ever made.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm also surprised that like Jason Segel didn't, like it must be tempting to bring that back, but we haven't seen it in any of the more recent productions.
At least in the show, like she was in the show a good amount. I guess it just wasn't on their priority list.
Yeah. Although I will say putting the two together, I really do enjoy the like running storyline almost of Janice owning her own sexuality, right? Like
absolutely, yeah. I mean, the first one was more of like she's asserting her hippie independence, and this one is more like she's telling off some creepy guy. But
right, I mean, both. It's like both of them are like Janice saying, like, I decide when I take my clothes off. Right?
Yeah,
like it's great.
Yeah,
Janice is the best.
Go Janice.
That's that deep arc, the deep story arcs.
Yeah, there it is.
Told over the course of 2 sentences.
Yep. But then Piggy doesn't want to hear any more of this. She says, Janice, everybody, please, I'm glad to see you too. Which I was thinking about this. In this movie, she probably is glad to see everyone, but like that's unique to this movie, right? Like there's no other version of Piggy who would be genuinely glad to see all of these people.
Yeah, that's probably true. And speaking of the 2015 series, there were moments in that when it seemed like she didn't really even know who everybody was, or like she didn't really care about all the people who were working for her. So yeah, this is a kinder
one
Piggy.
problem.
Right.
It's a problem with that show.
Yeah.
Early on.
Yeah, and it's a problem that I do think they fixed eventually in the second half of the season. But I also think that this is a little bit of what our previous guest Danny Horn was talking about, with like Piggy being too nice in this movie, right? Is that Piggy's like they go out of their way to have Piggy say, "I'm glad to see you too," to the whole gang, right? Yeah. Whereas like Great Muppet Caper, Piggy is just like, "Who are all these people? Why are they on my date?" like
it takes away that sort of the part of her that's the ambitious diva. Yeah.
Well, I would say in this case, it's because she actually does know all these people. Whereas in Caper, she's playing a character that does not know these people, and they're just weirdos.
Right.
So I would say it's fitting.
These are all her college buddies.
Right. I think in the context of the movie, it works fine, but it's definitely a different take on Piggy, which is good. I don't think the Muppets have to be the same in every movie. I think all three of these first 3 movies are stronger because they aren't, frankly, because each one stands on its own.
Mm-hmm.
But then she tells everyone that Kermit is gone, and we cut back to the man himself, the frog himself, the straw boater hat itself, Kermit the Frog, outside on the street. I guess I should say before we get back to Kermit, any other thoughts about the diner?
I just had one note which is in the Marvel Comics adaptation of this movie. So we mentioned that there are versions of like earlier points in the development where Beauregard traveled to New York with the Electric Mayhem. So in the comic, Beauregard shows up at Pete's and he has a van full of chickens and dogs and bears. And one of the bears says, "It's too crowded in there for us to join Fozzie, Ralph, Gonzo, and all their friends." So Bo says, "How about a sightseeing tour?" And then they drive away with it. So that it's very interesting to me that they felt like they wanted to put something in to explain where all of the dogs and bears and chickens go, because
they just kind of show up.
Yeah, well, we saw them when the Muppets get the postcards. They're all like, "Oh, hey, you guys want to come to New York with me?" And then we don't see any of those Muppets again until those random animals again until the end of the movie. So it's interesting think that they thought there should be an explanation of like, wait a minute, where have all those guys been this whole time? Oh, they've been on a sightseeing tour.
Where's Beth? Where's New Zealand?
Right, exactly. Where's that one bear? Yeah, or that one chicken.
I guess they realized, oh yeah, that doesn't actually matter at all.
Yeah, right. Nobody cares.
Yeah, it's fine without it. It would be nice to see Beauregard a little in this movie, you know.
But, just to have it, that would be fun.
Yeah. But it's fine. So anyways, Kermit is walking into a building. He walks past a couple of signs. It's Mad Ave Advertising, so that's where they are.
Toothpaste.
Yeah, Brusho Toothpaste, right. He walks into door 916, and inside he sees three frogs who tell him he's in the wrong place. The employment agency is down one floor, but then they pull him back in. They go back out in the hall to grab him, and they ask what his name is.
Well, Kermit, can I just say, I love how much information is conveyed by that one shot of the frogs in their office. Yeah. Because you just see immediately, like, there's paper crumpled up on the desk, and one of the frogs has his sleeves rolled up and he's staring at this folder, and one of the frogs is pacing back and forth, and one of the frogs has her feet up on the desk staring at the ceiling. Like, you can kind of tell that they're in the middle. Like, they've probably been up all night working on some project. We just don't know.
Yeah, they're trying to figure something out. That's true. There's a lot communicated just in that one shot.
Yeah.
But so then the frogs go out to the hall to grab Kermit. One of the frogs asks his name. Kermit looks at a poster for Zoom Along Gasoline, which has the tagline, "Fill her up." And he goes, fill up.
So what was he planning on telling the employment agency his name was? He was just going to have to make up a different name.
He's flying by the seat of his pants. He does not have a plan. His memory is erased. He's just starting from square one, I guess.
Yeah.
I think what was going to happen is that in the employment agency, he was going to look at a headline that said, "Police doubt fire was accidental," and then give his name as Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, or he would just look around the room and be like, "Oh, my name is desk, chair, table."
Desk, chair, table. Yes,
that's chairly.
But yeah. So obviously, as Mrs. Doubtfire points out, this is not a new joke here or in that movie. But it's definitely one that I'm a sucker for. Like,
it's a classic.
Sure.
It never gets old.
Right. And anytime characters like look at random things to make a name, I don't know, it always makes me laugh.
Yeah. And maybe
that's an evergreen.
Maybe you were going to say this, but Philip Phil is similar to the name of the protagonist of the Jim Henson Company's Happy Time Murders, which came out a few years ago. That guy's name was Phil Phillips, performed by Bill Beretta, which I have to think that they either, if it wasn't deliberate, they must have noticed it at some point along the way, but decided to keep the name.
Yeah, right. I was not planning to say that because I never got around to seeing that movie.
That is okay.
But, me neither. Yeah. It's on Netflix now, and I kind of wanna, but I kind of. don't wanna.
You can maybe see it once. You should see for yourself, but it's not great.
I want to see the puppetry. I've just been putting it off.
Yes, there's some very good technical puppetry stuff in it.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I might bother someday. But I'm not. I'm glad we don't have to cover it for this.
You would much rather watch Philip Phil than Phil Phillips.
I absolutely would. I absolutely would. So, but after Phil introduces himself, the other three frogs all introduce themselves, and it's this so silly thing. Phil, I'm Bill, and this is Gil. Phil, I'm Gil, and this is Jill. Phil, I'm Jill, and you know Gil and Bill. It's great. So good.
It's so good.
Yes.
It's such a good scene. There's so many things to say. I hope I don't start rambling, but it's a very good scene you picked for me.
Tell me what you're thinking right now.
Oh gosh, what am I not thinking? I love how it's like if you remove Kermit's experiences from life, he forgets how he normally talks. And he his voice just kind of has this floaty sort of like it's like he's doing an impression of himself, or he's just kind of like his brain is a little fuzzy. Like it just for some reason that's what happens when Kermit loses his memories. He just speaks completely differently, and it makes me laugh every time.
Yeah, it's great. Philip Phil is that voice. Well, and we've talked about how like you get to see so many different versions of Kermit in this because he wears a couple of disguises and stuff too. You know, and he's doing voices for those too. And it's great to see so many Kermits in one movie.
And speaking of so many Kermits, you know the story that everybody was told was it Steve, Dave, and Kathy were just told to do Kermit impressions.
Right. So we should say Jill is Kathy Mullen. Who didn't she play a frog on the Muppet Show? Didn't she play the Frog Scout.
Yeah, that was one of her first
leader,
speaking
Mrs.
roles on the Muppet Show. Yes.
What's her name? Mrs. Applegate or Mrs. Applewhite or something like that.
Applebomb, maybe.
Yeah, it's the Debbie Harry episode. I really should have looked this up.
Yeah, we should know this.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up and pretend I knew it the whole time.
Of course you do the whole time.
I know everything about.
And if it doesn't take you very long, all of this will remain in the episode.
Right. Mrs. Appleby. She played Frog Scout leader Mrs. Appleby.
Boy, we tried every permutation of Apple something and we still didn't land on it.
We still were up. And Dave Goelz played Kermit's acting teacher in the Linda Lavin episode, who we just saw in this movie, in this same clip. And he also played Kermit the Pig in the Cloris Leachman episode.
And both of those are... Mrs. Appleby is not really like a Kermit voice, is it? She's just kind of an old lady voice?
She's like an old lady, yeah.
But both of those Dave Goelz characters are very much riffs on Kermit.
Right, are just straight up Kermit imitation.
Yeah.
Like, because Kermit the Pig is replacing Kermit.
Right.
And then the acting teacher, the whole joke is that he taught Kermit how to like talk and he yells, "Yay!" just like Kermit.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. And if you want to add another one to it, Dave was the one operating the in the Muppet movie, the original, the second Kermit that Kermit is talking to in the desert.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dave was doing that too. So you want to add that to the Dave Kermit connection.
But then, of course, our third frog here, Gil, is Steve Whitmire, who, to my knowledge, had not yet played any kind of froggy voice yet. Like, this is his first one, I think.
Well, I mean, we don't know if he was like, if there was ever a group of frogs on the Muppet Show, but not a prominently speaking character. Yeah.
Right. And he would, of course, as everyone listening to this podcast undoubtedly knows, he would spend 27 years of his life playing Kermit the Frog.
And that's the voice right there. Like that's
and this is it, right?
It is
right, exactly.
Very, very, very close. Yeah.
Yeah. Gil is Kermit. And it's funny hearing the two next to each other. His voice is so much higher than Jim Henson's Kermit voice, which it always was, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it is neat to see him here in like embryonic form as the Kermit voice.
Yeah, it's just such a weird thing to have happened, to just have this little. I mean, that wasn't even, what year did this movie come out?
84.
Okay, just a few years before.
Yeah, when you really think about that, that blows my mind sometimes. Like, it's only 6 years, which I guess... I don't know. In 1990, when that transition happened, it felt like a long time to me because I was a little kid. But yeah, 6 years is nothing.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Right. Well, and I think about that especially with, because like after this, as we've discussed, there are very few projects with like the classic Muppet Show family. Right. There's like the celebration of 30 years and Muppet Family Christmas and Muppets at Walt Disney World. And that's really kind of it, right? I mean, you could say like Jim Henson Hour, but like kind of.
Yeah, it's new characters and a few characters come back, yeah.
Right. So it's like we're really very close to the end of like the classic. I mean, it's basically 3 hours of material after, essentially.
Yeah.
Which is wild to think about.
Wow.
And one of those is a clip show. A clip show with a lot of funny new stuff in it, but a clip show nonetheless.
Right.
So, anyways, here's Steve Whitmire. But one other thing I want to talk about with these frogs is all three of them have hair.
Yeah.
We very rarely have seen Muppet frogs with hair. Like we mentioned to Mrs. Appleby in the Debbie Harry episode. She has hair under her Frog Scout hat. But like for the most part, when we saw frogs in the Muppet Show, they looked like Kermit or Robin, right?
And usually not wearing clothes.
Right, usually bald and naked, right? And these guys are all wearing like business attire and have like varying amounts of hair.
Yeah, did they grow it out on purpose for the business? Is it a style choice? Do they get a wig so they can fit in with everybody else at the agency?
They're like trying to pass as human. They're
wow.
That's a good question. A wig had not occurred to me, but although I love the idea that Bill got a wig that's just like, is it Bill who has just like the horseshoe?
One of them is balding. Yeah, I don't remember if it's Bill or Gil.
He got a wig to look like he's balding. Yeah, it's very authentic.
Yeah, but it is. And as a kid, I never thought about it. But like now, knowing what frogs most of the time look like, it definitely jumps. And I guess these are like big city frogs, right? And most of presumably the Muppet Theater frogs are like Kermit's buddies from back home in the swamp.
From the swamp, yeah, they're much more casual.
And also in Muppet Walt Disney World, when we go to the swamp, and see dozens of Kermit's relatives. They're all naked.
Yeah.
Maybe they just keep it shaved. It helps you swim better when you keep it shaved.
One or two of them are wearing hats maybe in that, but that's not the same as wearing clothes.
Right. Hats are not clothes.
Right.
So I this is sort of speaking out of line. It might be a subject better for a later episode, but just about these characters and about this situation. Can I just say, like, there's a weird part of me that kind of like wishes Kermit had stayed with this job. Huh. Is that just me?
Well, maybe, but so you want to see the like workplace sitcom starring Kermit and these frogs?
No, it's more just like he just found a really nice, stable job without a bunch of wackos making his life crazy all the time. It was just a good job, had some good work friends, very quiet, very normal. I just think a lot of people aspire to finding a job like that. I almost wish he didn't go back. You know what I'm saying? Just like a little part of me. I know it's right that he went back, but like, man, that seemed like a good life. They just going to lunch, work meetings, just seem nice.
Yeah, you're making a good case for it. And not to jump ahead, but next week they will just say to him like, "Oh, you are with us now," which is they accept him immediately as part of their group. It's
like, who lands a job like that? Yeah. He didn't even go to. Well, they don't know he went to college. He just kind of like stepped into it. That's so lucky. People would kill for that.
He doesn't know he went to college.
That's true. Yeah. But so before we do get to the end of these minutes, they invite Phil back to their office. Bill tells them that they're in the ad game and they're looking for the opinion of the common ordinary frog on the street about their product, which is Ocean Breeze soap. And that's where we end. Or Kermit says he's never heard of it. Phil says he's never heard of it, I guess. Which, how does Phil know what he's heard of or not? That's my question.
Yeah, he doesn't even know
his own name. It's not saying much that he's never heard of it. I never thought of that before. You're right. Like, I've never heard of anything, though. I've never heard of any soap, so, like,
right.
Don't mind me.
Right. But so that does bring us down to the end. Any other thoughts on these minutes? Or, Arlo, if you want to talk about anything else, since you're not with us again, before we go, Arlo, any other thoughts?
I'll just give you, like, my brief thoughts on the movie as a whole, if you'd like.
Sure, please.
It's weird. It's one of those things, you just have, like, a personal preference thing. It's weird to me that, basically across every list, ask anybody. This movie is never at the top of any list. I have met so few people. You'd be
surprised how many guests we've had who've said it's their favorite.
I think a lot of it has to do with when people saw it. If it was the one that they watched over and over again as kids, then it tends to be like number one.
Yeah, maybe. I just, like, most people I talk to, like, even I'll talk about it on Twitter, and I put this movie above, like, the original, and they're like, "You're crazy. Like, it's a good movie, but it's nowhere near the top." Something about this movie just clicks with me. I think it's really it's impossible to say what's my favorite Muppet movie, but it really, really very likely could be this one. It just, everything about it is just got the most funny moments. I don't know, the best songs, the best story, the best characters. I don't know. Like, I adore this movie so much. And I kind of discovered the Muppets, like, I watched them a lot as a kid. But then, like, as an adult later is kind of when I rediscovered them and I got to re-look at every project, like, kind of with fresh eyes. And this one just stuck with me. I don't know. Like, it just, maybe it's the Frank Oz charm. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I just like his style or something. But golly, I could watch this movie. No, I have watched this movie 1,000 times. I will keep watching it.
Sure. Yeah. So you already answered one of the questions we like to ask at the end. Which is, where would you rank it? Do you remember the first time you saw this movie? Is the other one.
I don't believe I remember the first time, but I do. It was as a kid, though. I remember Caper was the one I saw less, because I think it was just like whenever I caught it on TV or something. But this one, no, it would have been as a kid, though, at some point. I don't think I ever had the tape. It was probably also just on TV, but
sure. Yeah. Which was often in my, I don't know if I'm 36. I don't know if you're around the same age as me, but when I was a kid in the early 90s, it seemed like it was on WGN constantly.
It was definitely on TV a lot more than the other two, which I think that's another reason why some people of a certain age prefer it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I was exposed to it more. I think I only owned the original Muppet movie. So you must be right that it was on TV a lot. If I still remember seeing it multiple times, even though I did not own it.
Yeah. So Ryan, what did you have anything to add before we
just I'll try to be concise. I think it's really interesting that an advertising agency is the choice of this new life that Kermit is going to get drawn into. This is a few decades before Mad Men kind of made people think about advertising again and the people who make advertising. And I feel like it's also a few decades after there was this fascination with that industry in the 60s.
Right. Which is why Mad Men is set there, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes. Like on Bewitched, Darren Stevens was an ad, I guess, copywriter, or I don't know. He had multiple roles at an advertising agency. And then you have stuff like the movie Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter with Tony Randall, Muppet Show guest star, where he works in advertising. And that was sort of it seemed like people were fascinated to realize like, oh, there are people who make advertising, and it's this whole industry in the 60s, but that had probably faded by this time. So it's interesting that this is the field that Kermit falls into. But also advertising is very associated with the Muppets from the early days. Like from the very beginning, the characters on Sam and Friends were doing ads for their sponsors. And you have the Wilkins coffee commercials with the very early Muppets getting blown up and stuff. So, I just thought that was interesting.
It kind of goes back to his roots.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and it is kind of fun. You're right. How like it was like in the 60s is where we examine, all the glamour or whatever. But then like even this depiction of it is a little old fashioned. It's not glamorous, but like the poster on the wall, it's kind of got that like 50s, 60s vibe. So it's almost like even then when they made this movie, even then it was kind of like an old fashioned take on the idea, like the style or something. So I don't know, maybe that really was just such a big thing that even then they recognized that in the 60s ad agencies were just like a big thing. So I don't know. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. And that's funny. Going back to his roots, 30 years before this, Kermit the Frog he wasn't a frog yet, but he was doing commercials for SK Meats. And now here he is once again working as an advertising guy.
Right.
Apparently he's really good at it. Apparently, I mean, like that's the straightforward slogan. Like that's something that someone would do now and it would be considered all like cheeky and oh, wow, haha, you just say what the thing does. That's funny. Like I'm waiting for some major person to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Ocean Breeze
ahead of his time.
It will get you clean. You can't argue with it.
What else do you need?
It does. Yeah, exactly.
We will find out more about Ocean Breeze soap getting you clean next week, however.
Yeah.
Do you have something else? Right?
The only other thing, in the March 7th, 1983 draft of the screenplay, the doctor doesn't just send Kermit out into the world. She actually refers him directly to the ad agency. He walks in and this human receptionist named Ethel introduces him to Bill, who then takes him to meet Jill and another frog whose name is Will, not Gil.
So Gil's funnier. Gil's definitely better.
I assume, and also because Bill and Will are both short for William, they decided that was funnier to have one of them be Gil instead of Will.
I'm torn because I feel like the way it's presented where he just stumbles into it is funnier. However, I like the idea of slowly being introduced to another person, like through each department, and they all have the rhyming names. That's funny in its own way. I think I prefer the way that it went.
Yeah, definitely. Because also there's no Ocean Breeze soap pitch at all in that draft. He just walks in and says, oh, they told me, the doctor told me you might have a job for me. And they say, oh yeah, here, meet Bill and Will and Jill. And they just give him a job and that's it. So it's not as funny and it makes less sense.
Yeah. So, this is a lot funnier for sure.
I will say only worth it if the human receptionist was Terry Garr.
Oh, that would be your pick for the receptionist.
Would have been a person. That would have been another guest spot. Although we just walked away from a guest spot with the doctor, so maybe that would have been a little too much.
That's true. I'm just thinking of someone who never worked at the Muppets, who I always wished had.
Yeah, why wasn't Terry Garr on the Muppet Show?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Missed opportunity. Yeah. You know? Anyways, so that does bring us down to the end. Listeners, please check out toughpigs.com on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're all over the place. You can email us with your fantasy casting for that receptionist character at movingrightalong@toughpigs.com. Our theme music is by Stacy Rosen. Our logo is by Morgan Davy. You can follow Ryan on Twitter at @MeRyanRowe. You can follow me on Letterboxd at ZeppoMarxist. And Ryan, I'm sorry, I always forget. What's your Letterboxd again?
Oh, my Letterboxd is Movies Are Neat.
You can follow Ryan at Movies Are Neat.
And if you do, it'll inspire me to write more reviews, which I should really be doing.
I enjoy your letterbox. It's always very concise and interesting.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. All right. And Arlo, remind our listeners where they can find you and your work online.
Good. Let's go to YouTube. Just type in Arlo. It's youtube.com/Arlo stuff. I talk about Nintendo, video game stuff. And can I just say thank you guys so much for having me. I think I am very, like, even just in my job and talking about Nintendo, like I consistently stretch how long I can talk about a thing and how thoroughly. So like the idea of going 2 minutes at a time, it sounds absurd, but then it's like, no, we've got the opinions to fill the space. Like we are so passionate about it. Like I could do this. I could just break it down minute by minute, and there's something to talk to.
There is a lot of stuff to talk about. And I do want to say I enjoy your videos, Arlo, and any Nintendo fans out there should check those out. Like when I was replaying Super Mario Sunshine recently and finding it infuriating, I went and watched some of your Super Mario Sunshine videos and was like, okay, I'm not the only one who finds this game impossible. So that was
It's the best, worst Mario game. It's awesome and I love it, and it's terrible and I love it.
Yeah, I won't argue with that.
That's awesome. Well, I have to admit I haven't actually watched your videos, and I'm sorry. I will, though. I have it queued up right now. As soon as we're done recording, I'm going to watch your review of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, one of my favorite games of all time. So,
I could never beat that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's like part of the fun. That's like part of the fun of Donkey Kong. Any Donkey
Kong. Old school hard.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Don't make them like that anymore.
Right. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us, Arlo.
Thank you for having me.
And listeners, don't forget to give us a positive review on your podcatcher of choice, and tell everyone you ever see to listen to Moving Right Along. We'll be back next. Everyone,
even if they hate the Muppets,
especially if they hate the Muppets, we'll convert them.
If they like Linda Lavin.
Yes, exactly. And we'll be back next week with another episode of Moving Right Along. Goodbye.
Bye.